My name is Sid Parker with Environmental Supply. We're the manufacturers of the Storm Tanker water tanks. I'm going to take some time now to give our viewpoints on water storage. There's a lot of questions: how much water do I need, how to store it, and all those sorts of things. So I'm going to attempt to give my opinion on these things. There is the government spec that is quoted a lot, which is 1 gallon per person per day for 14 days. My opinion of that is that's a survival spec. Okay, you're in survival mode if that's all the water you got. You're going to be thankful you got it, but that's about all you're going to do is survive. But let's say that your water supply is a mixture of freeze-dried and dehydrated foods. You're going to need much more water than that 1 gallon per person per day. You're going to need extra water to prepare that food, to rehydrate it, to make it eatable. But then you're going to need to keep drinking water to make it pass through your digestive system well, so that you don't develop other problems. Let me emphasize, I would not eat that food dry. If you have no water, I would not eat your freeze-dried or your dehydrated foods dry without any water. What will happen is that food will suck the moisture out of your system and plug you up, and that will create worse problems for you. Okay, you will have some severe dehydration problems going on inside you. Do not eat it if you do not have water to rehydrate it, and you do not have enough water to continue to drink it to get it to pass correctly. That'd be a bad deal. So again, here's my theory on it. If those are the types of foods you have to eat, they're fantastic foods, and I am not poo-pooing on them at all. I think they're awesome foods. They have a great shelf life. They taste good. They've done a great job with them. But you need a lot of water. I would have somewhere between 3 and 5 gallons per person per day, and then you could eat well. You'd have extra water to wash your hands with, wash your face with, wash your body with. You're not going to be taking baths with it, but you're not going to be in total survival mode. Okay, you're going to be more than just existing. Let me give you a little analogy that was told me many years ago that me and my wife have tried to live by. There's a scale. If you think of a scale between your left hand and your right hand, and that's your comfort scale. Let's say on the left hand, this is total survival mode. Okay, you've not stored any water, you've not stored any food, you don't have any alternative power, you don't have any alternative shelter. If anything bad happens in your life, you're at the mercy of the government, you're at the mercy of your church, you're at the mercy of your friends and neighbors. You have nothing. Okay, that's the one end. Now on the other hand, by my right hand, that is the totally ready part. Okay, that's that end of the scale where you have water, you have food, you have shelter, you have alternative power, you have a savings account with extra cash in it. That's that end. What I'm trying to tell you is pick where you want to be on that scale. Where at on this scale do you want to be on the preparedness level? Do you want to be on the end here where you're totally depending on other people for your survival? Or do you want to be closer to the other end where you don't have to depend on anybody? You've got your water, you've got your food, you've got your power, you've got your alternative cash, your alternative shelter, all that. You're just prepared. So I'm just saying pick where you want to be. What I'm trying to tell you is that 1 gallon per person per day is down. You're not begging for water, but you're not far off. Okay, you've got enough to exist and survive. That's about it. Okay, so I'm just saying, okay, if you get around 3 to 5 gallons per person per day, we're getting closer to this area where you're not depending on anybody. You've got enough water. You're living pretty comfortably. You've got water to not only just drink. You've got water to cook with, water to rehydrate your food, water to drink to keep that dehydrated, freeze-dried food digesting properly. You've got more water to do other things with. You're not just existing, you're actually living well in a crisis. So that's my theory. Okay, I would rather live well in a crisis than just survive. But again, if all you got is that 1 gallon per person for 14 days, you'd be glad you got it for 14 days. But after that, if the crisis ain't over, you will be dependent on others for your survival, and you'll be searching for water, searching for food. Now, let me tell you one other thing. Years ago, we had a preparation week where we had to live a week on only what we had. Okay, we had to live a week. It was kind of a surprise start, so we didn't have time to prepare. We couldn't run out and buy water. We couldn't run out and buy food. We had a starting point where we had to live on just what we had. And in that week of survival, we couldn't go buy more food. We couldn't go buy more water. We had to turn off the power to our house. We had to turn off the water to our house, and so forth. And so we had to just live as though we were the only people around. There was other people in our group that were doing it, so we could feed off each other. You know, if somebody didn't have enough food, we could loan them food. We could loan them water. They could loan it to us. Same thing with power and different things. So we could share within our group. But the one thing we noticed is we went through a lot of water when just living, and we thought we had lots of water. I mean, we had a lot of back then, as before we developed and started manufacturing these tanks, and so we had a lot of 55-gallon drums of water. But we went through several of those 55-gallon drums in 1 week. So it was an interesting little test for us to kind of see where we were lacking. Water was kind of alarming how much we went through just to survive that 1 week. So you may want to try it sometime. You may want to just try to survive for a few days. You may want to try to survive a week, you know, just on what you have, and kind of see what your family is using. You know, how much water, how much food. If you have a solar generator, what will it do? I mean, do you have enough batteries? Do you have enough solar panels to recharge it constantly? So I totally encourage you to use and test out the things that you have. But getting back to water, like I said, my own opinion is, if it were me, I would have somewhere between 3 to 5 gallons per person per day for as long as you wanted to survive. Not just the 14 days, but let's say you wanted to make sure you're good for 60 days. Do the multiplication for your family, see how much water that would be. You know, however long you feel like you may need to survive in a crisis. You know, a lot of people are having different feelings and different inspirations on how long a crisis might be. Give that some serious thought and meditation and prayer, and then decide how much water you're going to need. If you got other questions, please email me. My email address is sid@edpprep.com. That's spelled SID@edpprep.com.